Hey, welcome into another Whoosh video here. It's me, Louie. I know it's been a bit since you've seen me, since I've put out a video, just life. But we're back. We have a renewed focus here at Whoosh. And I thought what better way to kick off that renewed focus than with going over my experience at TerrifiCon at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. So, we're going to jump into that. As always, if you're enjoying the content, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps YouTube kind of share the video and the channel with more people out there. On top of that, if you're enjoying this, I've talked with my wife and we're actually going to debut a new video series. It'll be bi-weekly here on the channel called A Couple of Things, because, you know, we're a couple. We enjoy going to cons and comic shops and doing all this stuff together. So, going forward, that is one of those things you can look forward to instead of doing the weekly roundups. I'm going to be doing more of a what am I reading right now. I feel like that might be a better use of that space and that creative energy to kind of go over the stories I'm reading and discuss the arcs with you and kind of go through whether I think they're worth you picking up and reading. I will spoil some things in it. I'll try not to spoil anything too much because if I'm enjoying it, I'd love for you to go enjoy it with that first experience, not being what I've told you about it, but what you've experienced yourself. So that is one thing to look forward to. So yeah, Whoosh has a couple of exciting things coming up. We're really excited. We're going to Japan shortly. So we'll be traveling there, so look forward to some videos about Japan and some of the experiences from comics to pop culture to Magic the Gathering over there as well. So, like I said, big things coming up for Whoosh, and I'm excited to be jumping back into these videos and sharing all of this love and all of this passion with all of you. So, now that all of that is out of the way, the housekeeping is done, let's jump into TerrifiCon 2024 at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. My first experience at TerrifiCon was last year. It was fantastic. I believe my wife and I went down for a Saturday last year. It's a great show. Never feels overly crowded, no matter how many people are in there. The celebrities are fantastic. They had a great array of celebrities last year and this year. Of course, like all cons, some are there Friday, Saturday, some are there Saturday only, Sunday only. So it's hard. You got to line up your days if you're going. But the card, 100% worth it to go out of your way to see them all. Now, we went down Friday. We were visiting our friend Bobby, who runs Bobby's Retro World at these type of cons. He was set up at Mohegan Sun for TerrifiCon, and his booth is fantastic. He always has some of the best books around, which fantastic. Now, that being said, a lot of my purchases came from his booth. Not to say all of them. We did go around and we did do some other shopping and do some other things. We actually picked up dog treats at a Comic-Con. Who knew? They made some cool donut-shaped ones we bought for our dog, Daisy. And she absolutely demolished them. She loved them. So, that was pretty cool. Some things to lead off with because I don't really have pieces to show to go with them because they're actually out being graded. We had the chance to meet Charles Soule there. Wicked nice guy. If you don't know him, he wrote the Star Wars run, the original, well, not original, the rebooted Marvel Star Wars run that came out in 2015. He wrote that. He wrote the Darth Vader Volume 2 that came out under the new Marvel stuff. He wrote the first book in the High Republic novel series that they did. And what he might be most famous for right now is having written the Daredevil run from 2015, 2016-ish, that range, where Muse was introduced. And Muse, as you might know, was shown in the Daredevil Born Again trailer as being one of the main villains from that run. So, something to keep an eye on is that. I happen to have that first appearance on hand, and I was like, oh, he's going to be at TerrifiCon, let me just pack this one book and get it signed by him. I love his Star Wars stuff. Fun fact, I had actually kind of avoided High Republic, and I think I mentioned this before on here. I avoided the High Republic stuff until I actually had the chance to meet Claudia Gray at New York Comic Con last year, and she said to prepare for the Acolyte, go back and read the entire first run of the High Republic novels, which might have also been a little bit self-promotion for herself. The nicest person I've ever met, though. So totally fine to self-promote. But Charles Soule wrote that first book in that, so I went back and I listened to it, and I was talking to him about how I really enjoyed that, how Claudia Gray's recommendation is what really made me get into the High Republic. He did joke that, oh, Daredevil 11, I wonder why this is here, knowing full well it's Muse. But I thought it was cool to get it signed because I was like, oh, I actually liked the Muse character before. Not to sound like an overly cool hipster person, but I did love the Muse character. I thought it was a very interesting take. So it was cool to get him to sign that, and that is going off to CGC to be graded. Along the lines with that, someone else we had a chance to meet was Jason Aaron, who you may know from his Thor God of Thunder run, where he introduced Gore the God Butcher, who was introduced to the MCU via Thor Love and Thunder. A lot of people hated that rendition of Gore, myself included, because the Gore from the comics is ruthless, absolutely ruthless. Same origin story as shown in the movie, but an absolutely ruthless villain and one of my favorite characters. And honestly, the thing I love most about that Thor run is Thor is a big part of my wife and I's family. Like, she loves the Jane Foster Thor, which Jason Aaron also wrote, and she completely nerded out over with him. I love the God of Thunder run with Gore. That's my favorite Thor run of all time. It's probably the run that made me the biggest, like, that had the biggest influence on me being a fan of Thor going forward. And my wife's dad loved the original Thor run way back when it came out. So there's Thor throughout the ages there for everyone. So it was really cool to get to kind of nerd out with Jason Aaron and talk with him about how he's kind of connected us all through Thor, which was really cool. And then, because I'm super smart and always paying attention and keeping up on everything, I completely forgot that Jason Aaron wrote Southern Bastards, which, if you have not read it, it's completely outside the realm of superhero comics. It's about a football coach in Texas, where we all know football runs Texas. If you've ever seen any of their high school football stadiums, they're better than some professional stadiums. So that was really cool. And it was cool to just kind of tell him how much I liked Southern Bastards as well. So super cool, super nice guy, and really, really stoked. And I ended up getting, I believe it is Thor God of Thunder number 6 signed by him. It tells Gore's origin, but it's also the first cameo appearance of Null, the symbiote god, in comics. So kind of cool little crossover. I already have Gore's first appearance graded. I have the first issue of Thor God of Thunder also graded. So next up in that run was that one. So I thought it was cool. That one is also off to be graded at CGC as a witness signature. So pretty cool as well. Let's see. What else happened? We had the chance to meet Howard Chaykin, who wrote the original Star Wars comics that came out. Well, drew the original Star Wars comics that came out, based on the original movies. Original movie, A New Hope now, as it's known. So he was wicked funny. He's got one of those sense of humors where he's jokingly rude with you, but my wife will give it right back, and they ended up, I don't know, having some amazing bond between the two of them. It was awesome. It's really, really funny to see. That was cool. I think, and this isn't to downplay meeting everybody else, they were awesome. Super, super cool. I think the highlight of the day from an artist slash writer standpoint, hands down, goes to somebody I have never seen at a con in the area before. Someone my wife absolutely loves, and she's a massive, massive collector of his covers, and you might be as well. Scotty Young. So, Scotty Young had a signing at TerrifiCon super nice. He was selling merchandise as well. We went through and we got a couple of books signed by him. Those are off to be graded as well. But something really, really cool that he was doing is, one, he sold his original art from, a lot of it was from I Hate Fairyland and some of his earlier stuff. Not a lot of the Marvel stuff in there. He did have some comic covers for sale. But what I thought was cool is he did what he called unoriginal art. And these were prints, basically printed on what looked like comic book pages where you draw them. A lot of, if an artist still does them by hand. You may have seen it on here before when I showed off the Moon Knight City of the Dead page I bought. So they're unoriginal arts, they're prints, they're limited to 75 prints total. And he'll sign them right there with blue pencil to make them look more legit. So my wife and I both picked out prints from this, and let's start off with the one that we jointly picked out together. It is this one, and I thought it was awesome because it had like the most characters on it, the most bang for your buck, as I like to say. And I thought it was really cool, even though they're all kind of being defeated and Thanos is kind of laughing wickedly there. I thought it was pretty cool. I just love it. I love his art. It's so much fun. And something, I don't know, my wife and I, if we have kids in the future, we plan to put this up in like the nursery. We thought it would be a fun little piece. We've been collecting Scotty ungraded books for the same reason. We just think they'd be great in a nursery in the future if we are fortunate enough to do that. So, yeah, that is the first piece. I thought it was great. Come on, Thanos there laughing. Amazing. Now, with that being said, the second piece is actually an homage to Avengers, and this one I picked out. I thought it was great. I do love that Nick Fury is back there and basically like, "Hi guys, don't forget me." It's just such a great thing. This one is number 60 out of 75. The other one was number 69 out of 75, so they're getting close to not having a lot of them. But I mean, they look almost exactly like original art. They're an amazing print, though. They're signed by Scotty, and absolutely amazing. So, genuinely, absolutely love those. Those will eventually be up on the wall anyway. And I cannot express enough how awesome and cool it was to get to meet him. Also, super nice guy. Funny story was, we went to Scotty Young's line first, and his manager slash friend was talking to Jason Aaron behind the table, and I was like, "Oh, hey, that's funny. He's on our list to meet today too." And Scotty was just telling us how like they're all really good friends. They live close by each other, actually. So it was really cool to see just like how interconnected the comic community really was, and just get that kind of piece of cool information just by talking. It was awesome. Scotty was super nice, wicked gracious to everybody in line. I think they had a 40 book minimum for him, and even if he was signing 40 books and he knew somebody was going to basically be flipping those books, he still was wicked nice. It's not like he treated them any different than anybody else. He was $10 an autograph. If you weren't getting them graded, I think it was $30 if you were getting them graded. So yeah, ours will be off getting graded from that day. But I honestly, if you ever have the chance to meet him at a con, pick up some of that unoriginal art. It's unoriginal. I feel bad saying unoriginal because it still is original art, but it's unoriginal because it's a print. So don't get me wrong when I say unoriginal. I don't mean it in a negative context, because they literally say unoriginal art on the print, I swear. But no, just go pick up those covers. I think they were $40. They're awesome, and like I said, they come signed by him too. He'll sign them right there on the spot for you. So really awesome. Now let's get to some of the other shopping we did. And like I said, most of these books came from Bobby's Retro World. However, there's 4 graded books I'm going to go through. One of them was not from Bobby's Retro World. I'll preface this by saying I can't remember the booth's name off the top of my head at the time of recording, but I will put in the information to the side when I get to that book. But a book my wife picked out is Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Ham #1 from April 2020, which, weird time in the world. But we love all the Spider-Man characters. Love Spider-Ham in Into the Spider-Verse. Super, super excited for this book. I'm eventually going to do a whole wall display. If you follow Whoosh on Instagram or you're a fan of the page on Facebook, you'll see that I share. It's almost a bi-monthly wall where I'll change up all the books and the posters on my wall with maybe a theme, maybe it's just randomness. But one of the upcoming themes will definitely be different Spider personas. So Spider-Ham, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man, all of those. So this is a fun one. I think it was like $50 or something. It wasn't anything crazy. And again, Bobby's Retro World had a bunch of slabs there. He was doing 20% off most of them, so you couldn't go wrong. It was great pricing, great everything. Yeah, and the cover is pretty fun. I love the little Spider-Man eyes on the nose. So really, really great one. Next up is one that is actually on my list of things to grab. Not my top 5, which I'll have to do a follow-up video on soon, because I don't think I'm going to nail my top 5 for the year, and that's okay. Some things have changed on that. But if I meet the actor of a character at a con, I think it's cool to also get that character's first appearance. And back in 2017, I was fortunate enough to meet Sebastian Stan at Rhode Island Comic Con. And the first appearance of Bucky is way out of my price range. I believe I looked, and the low range on that is $45,000. The high range on that is just astronomical. But one book that is in that price range, and I count it for my own budgetary purposes, was the first appearance of the Winter Soldier. And that actually came via Captain America #6 from June 2005. And full disclosure, some things on the cover do make me uncomfortable. I'm not a big fan of all the Nazi banners being on there, to be completely honest with you. The more I look at it, the more I understand what the artist was going for. It's an homage, as the CGC label says, the Scarlet and the Black movie poster homage, Captain America #555. So 555 total in Captain America runs. I don't necessarily love these flags, but the more I look at it, the more I realize they never use a full complete one on the entire cover anyway. But I do want to say, just not exactly in love with that design. Happy to have the first Winter Soldier in the collection to mark that off my list. And to be fair, I've never actually read this run before, and I was able to borrow it off of Comixology Unlimited, so I'll be reading that. And you might even see that on an upcoming What Am I Reading video that I'm going to start doing. So very, very stoked. Again, thank you to Bobby's Retro World for this book. Super excited to add it to the collection, and yeah, I'm very, very excited for that. So again, I don't know, there's something about that cover that I'm not 100% comfortable with, and it's okay. I get it, it's art, and like I said, there's never a full Nazi symbol on there, so swastika, I should say, I guess. I'm just not comfortable with that cover, and that's okay. Next up on the list, however, is a book I did not buy from Bobby's Retro World. It is on my list of the top 5 books to pick up for the year, and it's a very low grade copy of it. Now, I say that, and let me show it off before I spoil it for everybody. It is Fantastic Four #46 from January 1966. This is the first full appearance of Black Bolt, and I believe I've shown before that, well, not shown, but discussed before how I met Anson Mount at Rhode Island Comic Con last year. Super, super nice guy. Very, very quiet, very humble. And again, along with the Winter Soldier book, this this goes with that of I like to collect the first appearances of people I've met. So this is the first full appearance of Black Bolt. I love the cover. It's a 2.5. I think the front presents a lot better than a 2.5. And it's actually one of the better front covers for Fantastic Four number 46 that I've seen in hunting. I think a lot of the issues come from the back of the book where the spine is really messed up. There's a lot of staining. So not great. Now, the reason I picked up this copy of this book is most of the raw copies I've seen of this book go for over $100. Grading itself, somewhere between $35-$40. And this one already came graded. So what did I pay for it? Well, I don't normally discuss prices, but this one was marked $80. And I went to the dealer at the booth, and I was like, I know this is marked $80. You can 100% say no. That's totally fine. Would you take $70 for it? And he looked at me and he goes, you got to respect the offer. I'll take $70. And I was like, all right. I just wanted to know, like, if you had said no, or if you're uncomfortable with it, it's totally fine. I wanted to ask. So I ended up picking this up for $70. And I'm super stoked because it was one of my top 5 books to pick up this year. So between this and the first Red Skull, which I've shown on here, I've got 2 out of my top 5. So going to continue to try to collect those if I can. If I can't, it's okay to not nail the top 5 for the year. But I wanted to set a goal, and I've nailed a couple of them. So very, very excited. Very, 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 very glad to pick this up. And like I said, for a 2.5, I think it presents phenomenal for a book that is over 58 years old. Like, that's pretty solid, actually, right? Like, looks really good, and super stoked to see all the Inhumans on there. So the last book, I gotta grab something else to show off too here. The last book I bought has a little bit more of a story to it, right? If you've seen some of my other things on this channel, I've posted a photo of a DC wall before, especially on YouTube. I may have also posted it on Instagram. So again, just plugging those. Follow Whoosh C&R on Instagram, and make sure to like and subscribe so you can get our posts that we put here on YouTube. I have a DC wall going where I meet the animated voices of characters and try to match up their first appearances. Well, I only have 2 of those, or I did only have 2 of those until now. One is Will Friedle for Batman Beyond, which I absolutely love, and Terry McGinnis' first appearance as Batman Beyond is Batman Beyond number 1. Number 2 for that list is Static, where I met Phil Lamar, who voiced Static in Static Shock, and Static number 1. Now, that's changed a little bit, and I get to add Matt Ryan, who voiced Constantine in... Well, actually didn't voice him. He first played him in the Constantine TV show in 2016, which was on NBC at the time, and then was canceled after 1 season. But he did pop back up in Legends of Tomorrow, so if you were a fan of that and you haven't checked out Legends of Tomorrow, I believe it's Legends of Tomorrow seasons 4 through 6, somewhere in there. It's definitely the later seasons. But he also voices Constantine on a lot of the DC animated stuff. And him and I both agree. DC nails their animated stuff. Hits it out of the park. So it was really, really cool. I got to meet him. I got this awesome, awesome picture signed by him as well. I feel like leaving it in that bag doesn't do it justice, so there we go. And it's going to fit perfectly. And I picked animated and this layout, like the landscape layout, because it goes perfectly with all the other animated I have. So very awesome. It says to Louie, best wishes, cheers, Matt Ryan, JC. So very, very stoked, and wicked, wicked nice guy. Could not have been nicer about everything. I was trying to explain to him my DC wall, and before I had the chance to leave, he was like, well, good luck with your wall. And I was like, oh, thank you. Super, super nice guy, though. Genuinely. And it was funny because I guess, I don't guess, Keanu Reeves actually did like a hour-and-a-half signing because his band was playing at Mohegan Sun. So Keanu Reeves and his co-creator for Berserker did a like VIP signing for TerrifiCon. Super cool of them. And when I got to meet Matt Ryan, he goes, "Did you have a chance to meet Keanu?" And I went, "No." And he goes, "Neither did I." So kind of a funny little side note there. I didn't expect that. I didn't think he would. I didn't think he was going to be interested in that, but it was funny to see that he didn't have a chance to either. And it was fun to see his take on the difference between Keanu's Constantine and his Constantine, where Matt Ryan tried to play Constantine as close to the comic book as possible, where it's this guy who's trying to do the best he can, and sometimes the worst option is the only option, if that makes sense. And that's what Constantine does a lot of the time. And it's just this really, really bad luck streak that he ends up on. So it was cool to see his take on it. And he was like, Keanu and my Constantine are kind of different Constantines. Like, his Constantine is completely different, but still great. A great interpretation. So I thought that was cool to get his perspective on it. And that leads into the last book that I picked up at TerrifiCon, which was Saga of the Swamp Thing number 37, the first full appearance of John Constantine in comics. Yep, that's right. I met John Constantine, I got an autograph, and I picked up John Constantine's first appearance at TerrifiCon 2024. Definitely the biggest book of the entire night / day. Honestly, kind of stoked. I was thinking about it going into the con, and funny story is, obviously I'm really good friends with Bobby from Bobby's Retro World, and I think I messaged him before because I knew I was going to meet Matt Ryan and I wanted to add it to the wall. I was like, "Hey, do you have a Swamp Thing number 37, the first Constantine?" He goes, "No, I don't think I do." And then I go to the booth, I look up, and on the top shelf, Swamp Thing number 37. And I was like, you lied to me. And he goes, "I thought you said you were looking for a low grade." I was like, "I said I was looking for a one, first of all." But no, then him and I ended up working out a deal for this book, and I literally did not think I would walk out of there with this. But couldn't be happier. It's definitely one of the bigger books I've bought at a con. It's not the most expensive book, but still a cool, very, very cool edition. Very high grade of it. I mean, with the yellow cover and all of that, a 9.4 for it is phenomenal. So, could not be more excited to have that and add it to the collection. And pretty stoked overall. Some other fun things. I know that's all the purchases, but that wasn't the end of TerrifiCon 2024 by a long shot. My wife and I had the chance to talk to Argyle from Stranger Things Season 4. You might know him because he worked at the pizza shop. Wicked humble kid. And I don't want to say kid like derogatory. He's definitely an adult, but like, he's such a nice guy. We were trying to say like, "Oh, you made it. You were on a hit TV show." He goes, "I haven't made it." And I was like, just remember, like, you've already accomplished more than a lot of people. Like, that's something to be proud of. Even if you don't feel like you've fully made it, make sure you recognize what you've accomplished. Like, that's huge. Humblest guy though. And then we also had the chance to meet Sergeant Slaughter, which, holy cow, nice guy. Still a massive human being, but super nice, and took a lot of time to just be absolutely amazing with my wife when we were meeting him. And we got to talk Camp WWE, which was on the WWE Network, is now part of Peacock, so check out Peacock if you haven't had a chance to watch Camp WWE. Absolutely hilarious. Seth Green helped write it, and Sergeant Slaughter voiced Sergeant Slaughter on the show, so it was funny to talk to him about that. Yeah, it was wicked awesome. Such a great show. And overall, I can't recommend TerrifiCon enough. Something to also plug on here is, if you haven't listened to it, look up the Con Job podcast, where Ryan and his co-host Alexa discuss the dealer side of Comic-Cons. We had the chance to meet Ryan at TerrifiCon, and wicked nice guy. He was selling his wife's art, and again, at the time of recording, I'm blanking on the name. I will 100% put it here in the video. So go check out that art too. It's phenomenal. We own a Sailor Moon piece from them. Can't recommend them enough. It's watercolor art that they either sell the original of, a canvas of, or a print of. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Ryan was working the booth by himself. Wicked nice guy, and he was we got into talking about videos and podcasts and stuff, and he was telling me about the con job, and I've been listening to it, and it's a really cool perspective to see dealers and their take on Comic-Cons. As a fan, I'm of Comic-Cons. I love seeing what they think of them, whether they like the layouts, whether they like the crowd, the way the crowd kind of funnels through the aisles, their takes on the celebrities and how they set up those to draw them away from the booths, and whether the celebrity prices are so high that it's affecting the dealers and stuff like that. It's very in the weeds, but if that's something you're interested in, definitely go check it out. I can't recommend them enough. I'm definitely hooked on listening to a lot of the ones. I started off going back to the cons that I've gone to, but it's phenomenal, and wicked nice person to talk to as well. So it's the Con Job podcast. I believe it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts is where I listen to it, so definitely go check them out. But yeah, that is my thoughts on TerrifiCon 2024. Blast only went on a Friday. Definitely already marked off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for 2025 to go down and enjoy them. And yeah, stay tuned. We'll be back here at Whoosh. All right, we'll see you.